Hello everybody, welcome to the second video of Saturday. This is probably going to be my final video of the day. This is going to focus on Odin. Now, a lot of you may have wondered why I didn't properly cover the Odin changes, because there's been one for Vulture, which again I'm not covering because it's not an extensive change that I'm interested in, but definitely the Mr. Fantastic and Black Panther ones, very interested in. And maybe I'll do a video on Vulture next week. But as well, I did miss off covering Odin, so it's kind of like important to go over why I didn't cover it, why I decided to make this a separate video, and the buff in general. So information on the buff can be found in the version 31.0 release notes, which can be stipulated to being the following. So at the start of every fight, Odin gains a indefinite fury and armor up buff, which is good because that was a problem, because when the champion went into Odin Sleep, it still was a case that, you know, one fight you wouldn't get the, or you wouldn't start it with a nice amount. And Odin Sleep now grants an indefinite aptitude buff instead of a fury and armor up buffs, which is good. But again, it may be something that players aren't too interested in. And with Odin's special 2 attack, the burst of direct damage for each unique buff has had its limit increased from a considerable amount. From what I gather, and we'll go over the extent of the numbers in a minute, it is a good amount. All buffs, excluding the extended buff, have had their duration increased from 7 to 10 seconds. Good, because that was the problem I was finding with the champion. The rotations weren't exactly feeling that it was achievable, and you had to work hard in order to achieve it, which is kind of crappy because you don't really want to like overwork to get a champion up to the full extent of damage dealing potential the champion has. Now, this is the thing of like going over the changes, which I'm gonna throw up on screen in a second. I'll read off of, because that's kind of the important things. The changes are that always active fury is 2,586 attack rating, which is the same as Odin Sleep's old fury. Always active armor up is 2,739.83 armor rating. This is for a 565. And it's equal to Odin Sleep's old armor if Aptitude is active. Without Aptitude, it is slightly lower. And changed Odin Sleep bonus to an Aptitude buff with a 15% potency. And the tuning changes are that the SP2 cap is increased from 11,600, this is for the direct damage, to 20,000. And the base kit buff duration is 7 seconds, changed to 10 seconds. Which, yeah, that's like what we discovered, so that's on the screen. Now, why am I not overly thrilled? Like, I am thrilled about these changes, but also I'm kind of not, because I did feel that there could be a bit more done with this particular champion, which I did voice my kind of like thoughts on. But for, you know, Kabam, I don't know, like they don't have, I don't know if they have like a huge amount of time to like develop stuff. And look, maybe the things that I was interested in seeing from this champion didn't align with like other people, Kabam themselves and stuff. So so yeah, my kind of like thoughts of the stuff that I wanted to see was just based on things of the character. So one of my suggestions was that the champion has something as similar as the class disadvantage that Magneto sees, in that you can take Magneto against a lot of the tech line, especially those that hashtag metal. So I thought, because of Odin's abilities to interact with mystical based powers, that he could have that kind of reverse disadvantage that would be the cosmic versus the tech, cosmic versus the mystic, and have that kind of like as a unique element to that particular character. So that was kind of like the first thing I was like, oh, all right. The second thing is like, well, what is the character's kind of like immunities, utility factors to it, as opposed to being something that's just the normal cosmic, which is like, hey, are you a cosmic champion that has a load of buffs? Yeah, that's an obvious thing. So good kind of like good champion. It's just another cosmic that does a lot of buffs and a lot of damage, which is like Hyperion, like Cat Marvel movie, like any other. Oh, like Cosmic Ghost Rider. Yes. Does it have anything else that can it do anything with power controlling anything element that Cosmic Ghost Rider does? No. Okay. Good cosmic champion. And maybe that's an unfair kind of like assessment, but at the same time, it's just how I see it. The idea as well, like Odin Sleep not being totally removed, is again a bone of contention for me because of the extent of time the champion goes into some element of Odin Sleep, which again I find weird, because it's like, well, Odin Sleep is like, it's kind of more of a yearly cycle, or more like there's more time between the Odin Sleeps. Yes, there may be situations and times in the comic book where he's had to Odin Sleep a lot more frequently, but definitely it's not something that I would have would expect once every 2 fights, 3 fights, even 4 fights. It's a case like I'm even surprised that it's in there as a thing, because it's all about time in the fights, or between the fights, that I just find again a little bit strange and a little bit weird. So that's kind of like, that's where I'm coming off when it comes to my thoughts on the Odin Sleep itself. There's some like comic book stuff I've been trying to like read up from time to time about, like, you know, what kind of state he's in, and maybe that was something that Kabam could have touched on between the point of being in Odin Sleep, well, he's at his weakest points. I get it, but at the same time, like, again, the frequency of being in the Odin Sleep is something I just find kind of weird. But it's just, again, just a very, very weird situation around Odin and the way that he's been put together. Do I feel that he could have been a bit more powerful than he is? Of course. I just kind of feel like he could have been so much more than he is. And he will be good. He will be a good option. Will he be good to take on the likes of Abyss of Legends? Maybe. Will I be able to test him out? Because I haven't had a chance to fully test him out on some stuff, but definitely from what I'm seeing is like there's an improved amount of damage potential the character has. But again, it doesn't, like, as I said, for me it doesn't ring true of what Odin is. But Kabam, I don't know if they're willing. I don't think they will ever change it to something that interacts with the mystical properties, have more utility to the character, which he basically is just, he's a, if I mean, look, I'll let you be the judge of it when the champion goes in, but is he a pretentious Cosmic Ghost Rider or Cosmic Ghost Rider wannabe, or any other kind of like trying to be vying for that god tier, beyond god tier kind of mantle? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but that's really the thing with those changes. Again, to kind of like clarify those changes, which I did go back to that sequence, but yeah, so as said by the info we've discussed, and as well, it's just a case that the character is getting more of a improvement to, at the start of the fight, Odin gains an Indefinite Fury, an Armor Up buff. Odin Sleep now grants an Indefinite Aptitude buff instead of Fury and Armor Up buffs, which, yeah, that's good. Tide you over, I guess, whilst he's in between the Odin Sleeps and the regularity of it. With Odin's Special Attack 2, the burst damage, direct damage for each unique buff has had its limit increased considerable amount, which is that, I think, 20,000, but again it could be down to different rarities, but it's down to 565, and all buffs and the length of time they're on is excluding extended buff is 7 to 10 seconds, which is not a huge jump up, but I guess this is going to be the point of effective rotations and not feeling that you're, I don't know, rushing around so much to like reapply these buffs, or kind of keeping these buffs on, which I think is the kind of the main point with these changes. I really think this is going to be down to you guys playing the buff to get that idea of whether or not you feel it's good. As I said, for me, I'm very indifferent on it. I would say that yes, I like the damage potential that the champion has as a result of the changes. Thumbs up. Thumbs down is because I just feel that something more could have been done with this character, for the utility factor, for removing the idea of Odin Sleep, and the third thing being that have that interaction with mystical based champions that Magneto has, and as well, say, the way that the champion can elevate in the same way that Apocalypse has for the mutant class. And yes, he does have the aptitude, yes, he has the crossfight, but obviously that's been kind of reduced. Has it been reduced? I think it's been reduced to a degree, the potency, from a point of bringing in multiples, and as well like how it applies. So yeah, that's just my thoughts there on that particular champion. As I said, I'll be waiting till next week to run the tests, which I'm interested to do. What are your thoughts on the changes? Will it be something you'll have to kind of like wait until it's there to kind of give it a go? But still, what's your thoughts on Odin? Would you have liked to see more from Kabam on this rather than the update that was given on screen? Thoughts in the comment sections down below. Thank you so much for supporting the content. Make sure to check out some of the content we've posted so far. Lots of videos planned for next week. And also I'll be doing some comic book history breakdowns, hopefully on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. And we've got the return of the podcast. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye-bye.